Hello and welcome to Autocornered on this very special Gothenburg edition. And if you don't know, Volvo is from Gothenburg, so that's why we are in the brand new XC60. Now it was launched about a year ago, so it's not it's not brand spanking new, but it's a very popular car from Volvo, and mid-size SUVs are very popular, and I personally also like them. So this car right here is the entry-level petrol engine, which is the T5 with 250 horsepower, which is actually a decent engine. It also makes quite a cool sound. Sometimes you even hear the turbo doing psh, psh, which is sort of fun. The base price of this car, depending on which country you live in, is basically 34 to 35-ish thousand euros, which is also quite decent compared to the competitors. And you get the 8-speed automatic transmission, which is actually a ZF gearbox as standard. You have also some diesel engines. You have the D3, and the entry-level D3 I think is even cheaper than the T5 when it comes to entry-level price, but it has a manual gearbox, and I think this car does not fit with a manual gearbox. I much more prefer the automatic gearbox in this car. Now, I've been driven this car actually a couple of times, so I driven. You know what? I'm gonna turn this off because it's really annoying. How can I? Albert, there we go. Yes. There we go. It's off. Where were I? I've driven it a couple of times, so I know a little bit more about it. And I've driven this engine in some other Volvos as well. For example, the XC40, which is the little brother of this car. I think this car looks better than the XC40. The XC40 is a little bit more of a funky design. This is a little bit more of a corporate design. If you get this in four-wheel drive, it is Haldex system, which well, Haldex is not really as good, for example, as Audi Quattro and the BMW xDrive or Mercedes 4Motion, but it's an okay four-wheel drive system. You won't have as much fun as you do in one of those cars. The interior quality is great. It feels very at home. It's very typical Volvo. This one is a little bit more option out. You have beautiful Burmeister speakers, for example, and the leather seats and a little bit other options, so it's a little bit more cool. But I'm actually going to pause the video and I'm going to give you some detail about some good packages for this car. So here's the base runaround about the options. You have Momentum, which is the standard equipment. It really depends a little bit on which country you live in, but of course you get AC. Of course, it's 2019. The screen, the big touch screen, as you can see, 18-inch rims. You also get the LED lights, Volvo On Call with Wi-Fi hotspot, and depending on which country you live, you also get the parking heater, so you can park the car, and with the app you can connect when you want to start it, and so on and so forth. Almost all the safety things: city safety, adaptive cruise control, lane change assist, rain sensors is also standard. If you want one step above, it's the luxurious line. It's called Inscription. Then you get leather seat, keyless go, 18-inch rims, rear seat heaters, and panoramic roof. Then you have the R design, which is basically like M Sport or AMG package. It's a little bit more of a sporty. It also makes the car a little bit more aggressive, so different bumpers and so on and so forth. You get the sport chassis, so it's a little bit lower, a little bit stiffer. Sport seats. You get a unique steering wheel and black inner roof, but I don't think the suspension is that much different. But the best thing is to check with your local Volvo dealer for more information, because it really varies a lot in which country you live in. Often they have really good offers on special kits. For example, they have maybe the base kit, which is Momentum, but with a little bit more extra, and they have a special deal on that. So check that with your local Volvo dealer. And we are back. So now you know a little bit more of the packages you can get for this car. Overall, I like this car. It's a decent car. Personally, I prefer the Germans, but for the money, you get a lot of car for the money, basically. For example, if you want Audi, you have to pay extra for the visual cockpit. This thing already got it as standard. And it's a very comfortable place to be. The seats are great. You can even get the R-Line sport seats. We have the thing that you can move around, and it's a little bit better if you're tall. But the seats are very comfortable, and it's a very Scandinavian car. If you live in Sweden, you see them everywhere. But if you live in a country where there's not a lot of Volvos, it's a little bit more special, a little bit unique. So if you want to stand out from the crowd, it's a great car. So thank you for watching this quick review of the Volvo, and see you in the next one. Screen, which is very high resolution, as you get in all Volvo cars. Here's the rear wheel camera, which is actually very nice. The quality, like I said, is beautiful. You can have optional heated seats in the rear. This thing is very easy to use. I've noticed before they were a little bit more laggy, but I think in the newer ones it's a bit faster, so they have updated the software, and you basically control the entire car by this. And I mean, everything from the car options, you can do anything with it. For example, you can change the display, you can change which colors, you have different themes on it, you have the navigation, you have the radio. It tends to get, you have to get used to it. For example, in most cars, when you press the seat heater, maybe I have to turn on the car. That's also quite cool, this crystal thing. For example, if you want to put the seat heaters, you have to push it twice, so that, and then you have to choose. But it's a thing that you get used to. But overall, very cool design, very Android, very iPad, very up to date. So great job there.